It's 4 years since the invasion has happened. Hundreds of thousands of Ukrainian citizens have been killed, either military personnel or civilians. How do you see the next 12 months?
Hello, Ian, and thank you so much for having me. We do not see the end of the war in sight, just simply because, as of right now, we see absolutely no facts here on the ground that Putin is ready to end the war. Unlike new American administration, I think you in the United Kingdom understand that the keys to ending the war are not in Kiev, but they are in Kremlin. And there is no reason in pressuring Ukraine to peace if Russia still is ready to fight. We know that Russia's economy is declining. However, we also know that there is no actual realistic sign that Putin wants to stop and that he will stop soon. So we shouldn't be feeding ourselves and our partners with the illusions that the peace is around the corner, because it does nobody really a good favor to think like that. So we need to be preparing to continue fighting. We need to be fixing our energy infrastructure. We need to be manufacturing more weapons to defend ourselves. Acting as if the war will not be over soon.
You said the key lies in the Kremlin, and I agree with you with that. But there's another key, isn't there? And that is Donald Trump. If Donald Trump lost patience with Putin and actually started to think, well, the only way this is going to finish is if we can arm Ukraine to the hilt and enable them to fight a much more belligerent war against Russia, that is surely another key to this.
Absolutely. Look, if all the political promises that have been made over the last 4 years would suddenly become the reality, there would not be a necessity to look for some simple solutions to this complicated problem. It has always been one plan A, is to weaken Russia to the point that they cannot continue the war by sanctions, by economic measures, and to arm Ukraine to the point where we can defend ourselves so that it wouldn't make any sense for Russia to continue. This should be the goal, this should be the target. But as we see in the reality, some things move slowly. Russia is able to overpass many sanctions. All our partners know the list of the ships in this so-called shadow fleet, but for some reason, only part of them are under the sanctions, and every new package of sanctions includes more and more, but not all of the ships. So this is a process. We appreciate that it is going. However, to bring the end of the war closer, we need basically all the actors that are on Ukraine's side to go ahead with and complete on the promises that have been made, including President Trump with his Tomahawk promises and pressuring Russia to the negotiation promises.
What do you make of the fact that it's not just now North Korean troops that are fighting for Putin, but apparently he's recruiting mercenaries from all sorts of countries, from Russia's allies in Asia? It seems extraordinary that he's been reduced to doing this.
So the nature of the war with the drones has changed over the last 4 years. And Russian soldiers really understand that the length of the so-called kill zone is much bigger these days than it was before. And so to go ahead and to have some advances, you would basically need to have the naive soldiers who do not understand and do not have this experience. This is why Russia was using North Korean soldiers as this battlefield meat, and they're using right now soldiers from African countries and other countries whom they can put at this forefront of basically going forward and trying to find the weak points of Ukrainian frontline, which is obviously extremely dangerous and which is basically a suicide mission, and only people who do not understand the language, do not understand the war, can go ahead and do that. And they are able to find those people.
Now, I think Boris Johnson, our former Prime Minister, has a very high reputation still in Ukraine, probably higher than this country. What do you make of what he said in the last couple of days about sending British troops on the ground to safe areas of Ukraine before a ceasefire? Because to most people in this country, that seems like a mad idea.
The question is, what would you like to achieve with this idea? And it is unclear to me, like, what's the goal? Because the issue is that people are thinking again that Putin is a rational actor, which he obviously is not. And putting British soldiers into harm's way without being ready to go ahead into full-scale war with Russia, if something, God forbid, happens to those soldiers, would be yet another move of appeasement. I will give you an example. Usually when high-end officials are coming to Ukraine, Russia doesn't dare to attack us those nights. This is why Ukrainians really love having high-end officials here, because it's just a matter of defense and security. And so when NATO Sec General was coming to Kiev, Mark Rutte, we were hoping that Russia wouldn't dare to attack as well. But what they have done was the opposite. They have launched yet one of the most massive attacks over the last couple of months to show to Mark Rutte that Russia is fighting NATO, they are not afraid, etc., to put him perhaps into harm's way. So while there is the thinking that British soldiers or any international soldiers may be protecting Ukraine, the truth is they may become a target of Russia. And then there would be a question how the country of origin would react to that. And I think I will answer to you, Iain, with the things that my friends in the military who are fighting at the front line answered when I asked them if this is a good idea. They said, are those soldiers coming armed? If so, can they send the weapons first, and we will know what to do with that. But the issue is, it's not that we need more people, we need more weapons and supplies. We need, obviously, improvement of the air defense, etc. So before that is done, I'm looking at this idea of sending international troops as yet another attempt to find a simple solution to a complicated problem. But as I told you just now, the plan A is the only workable plan that we see. Arm Ukraine, put pressure on Russia, and we will do the rest.